Hey everyone, it's BoogeyMan Ben. Hope everyone's doing well. I wanted to say Happy New Year to all of my subscribers and followers on this channel. Just wanted to say thank you so much for a terrific year on this channel. The Horror Zone has really grown this year in terms of subscribers, and I know for some YouTubers that have channels, I mean, they have thousands and thousands of subscribers, but as I've said before, the fact that anybody is interested in what I'm saying and that I have even 2 subscribers is amazing to me. So everybody that comes on my page and subscribes to me and makes a comment on a video that I post, it means the world to me, and I just want to thank everyone. And I promise that in 2014 I'll continue doing the videos like I've done in the past, and try some new things, and hopefully everybody will stick around and enjoy what I have to put forward. So tonight, what I wanted to do is something that I've done. I started doing this last year for New Year's. I talked about my favorite movies for the past year. Last year I did my favorite films of 2012, and this year I'm going to start it a little bit differently. I have a top 10 list, but I also want to do some honorable mentions. There was a lot of great films that came out this year and a lot of films that really surprised me. And I don't have every film that I'm going to be talking about. I do have many of them, but not every one of them. So what I'm going to do first is do some honorable mentions. I have quite a few. I probably have about maybe 6 honorable mentions I want to do, 6 or 7 at the most, and then after that I will go into my top 10. So I hope everyone enjoys this, and again, thank you so much for a wonderful year, and I promise to do some more cool things going into 2014, and I hope everybody is excited for that. So starting off with some honorable mentions in terms of films from 2013. First one I want to say that I was a huge fan of is Fast and Furious 6. This fucking movie is my favorite in the Fast and the Furious series. I really was surprised that they were able to top themselves after the amazing Fast 5, which I thought was, for me, the first one in the series was good. I enjoyed it because of Vin Diesel. I was a fan of him from Pitch Black. Fast and Furious 2 and 3 were okay. I wasn't a big fan of 2. 3 I thought was a little bit better, even though none of the principal cast were in it. And then I thought 4 was great. 5 was fucking spectacular, and this one just blew it out of the park. I love this movie 100%. And it saddens me so much to watch this film now, knowing that Paul Walker has passed, and he will no longer be a main character in the franchise going forward. But I'm glad they are going to keep his footage in Fast and Furious 7, which will not come out now until April of 2015. But I'm glad that they are keeping him in there, but also respecting his family and everything during this just horrible time. So yeah, love this film 100%. Next film I want to talk about is a movie that surprised me because a lot of people kind of dissed it, and I was surprised even before I saw it. But it was Man of Steel. I've never been the biggest Superman fan. I was always, growing up, I was a fan of the Incredible Hulk and Batman and Spider-Man. Never was a huge Superman fan. I enjoyed the Christopher Reeve movies, especially the first 2 directed by Richard Donner. Loved those films. They were great. I wasn't a big fan of Superman 3 because even though I loved Richard Pryor, I just thought that film was kind of silly, and it just doesn't make sense. And then, of course, I never saw Superman 4. But I did see Superman Returns, and I actually did enjoy that film. But a lot of people really crapped on that film because it just didn't have, I guess it just didn't have the action that people were looking for in a Superman movie. And then this movie came out and looked to be much more action-packed, and I know they were retelling the origin, but they did it a little bit differently. Plus, Chris Nolan was involved in it, as well as David Goyer, and I love Zack Snyder. Love his movies, Watchmen, Dawn of the Dead. Not a big fan of 300, but I thought Sucker Punch was kind of fun. But this movie was really great, and I love the music by Hans Zimmer, and I thought that Henry Cavill did a great job as Superman. I loved Russell Crowe in it, Kevin Costner, Diane Lane. Just a terrific cast. Amy Adams, I loved everybody in this film. I thought it was a terrific action-packed film. And now that I found out that, now that we know that the next film's going to have Superman and possibly even Wonder Woman in it, I'm kind of disappointed because I would really like to see another standalone Superman movie because I really thought this movie kicked ass, and I really don't understand why people were pissed off about this film and are saying it's not good. This movie kicks ass. And it's like, the last Superman movie before this, Superman Returns, didn't have enough action. And then this one has too much action, so I just feel like people are never friggin' happy. But again, this is just my opinion, and I really enjoyed this film. Awesome film. Loved it. Another film I really enjoyed, and I mentioned this before, was The Call, starring Halle Berry. I thought this movie was very suspenseful. Though again, there was some naysayers out there about the ending, and something I guess they just didn't like the main heroine. I'm like blanking on her name right now. See, I think it's Abigail Breslin. Yeah, Abigail Breslin. Abigail Breslin. A lot of people didn't like her in this film, but I thought this movie was great. It was a return to form for Halle Berry, who was just sort of stuck in horrible films after she won her Oscar for Monsters Ball. There really wasn't anything that she did after that that piqued my interest. And then she did this film and really just showed what a tremendous actress she could be. And I thought the 911 call scenes were just very suspenseful, and the main character, played by Michael Eklund, the main antagonist who's kidnapping the girls, is just completely creepy. I said that when I saw The Divide. I thought he was great in that, and he was terrific in this too. So another excellent film. Another great film that I think is harkening back to the great action films of the 90s and the late 90s, early 2000s was Olympus Has Fallen. This movie's terrific action. I watched it again over the Christmas break on Christmas Day. I saw it once in the theater, and then I got it for Christmas, and then I watched it again. I mean, this movie's terrific. Gerard Butler is awesome in this. You also have Aaron Eckhart, and you have Morgan Freeman. Melissa Leo. Terrific cast. A great action film. Something that they don't really make anymore. I didn't see White House Down. I know that film didn't do very well, but this film did. And I think it was also because you had a great director here, Anton Fuqua, who's done Tears of the Sun. He did, I think it was called Brooklyn's Finest. And then he also did, of course, Training Day. So just an excellent, excellent director. And this film is just amazing. If you haven't seen it, check it out. I think a lot of people don't know about this film because all I ever hear people say, they're like, oh, it's like White House Down. They don't talk about this film that much, but this film did better than White House Down. So people should actually go and check this one out. It's an excellent action film and really harkens back to the action heyday of the late 90s. Another film I really enjoyed this year, and I've enjoyed it more on repeat viewings, is A Good Day to Die Hard. People hated this movie 100% right out the gate. I think they hated, I think his name is John Moore, who directed it. They just didn't like the screenplay. They didn't think that Bruce Willis had any chemistry with the guy that played his son. And it didn't feel like a Die Hard film. I actually liked it because it was different. I feel like every Die Hard film in the series has been a little bit different. This isn't my favorite Die Hard film at all. I mean, but it was a fun action film. I thought Bruce Willis did fine with the work he was given, with the script he was given, and I had no problem with this film at all. I mean, yes, I thought the villains could have been a little bit stronger, but so what? You know, it's like I still think it was a good time. I went in, I had a good time, I enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed it much more on repeat viewings. So I think people that have heard negative things about it and are unwilling to check this out should give it a chance. I actually really enjoyed this film. Last on my honorable mentions is The Purge. I did a review on this one when it came out during the summer. Had a blast with this film. I thought Ethan Hawke was amazing in this. I like the concept of society where one day a year you're able to you're able to commit any crime. It's a really creepy it's really a creepy concept, and I think it was done really well. A lot of people complain about this because it didn't show all aspects of what the purge would be, you know, in every different, you know, low income, middle class, you only see the upper class aspect from one family's point of view. But I have heard they're going to do a sequel to this, and I'm curious what they're going to do in the sequel. I'm sure they're going to show a different aspect of what the purge means to other people that don't have the money to have a huge security system like the characters in this film. But I thought this film was great, a lot of action, a lot of tension, and yeah, I think it's one of the best that came out this year. Just excellent film. Okay, now we are on to my top 10 films of 2013. Now, there was some that I mentioned in previous videos that I said I thought should be in my top 10. or were going to be my like number 1 or number 2. But that list kind of changed a little bit as more things have come out. So bear with me, and this was a list that took me a while to come up with. So I hope everyone enjoys this. Now, some of these movies are still in theaters, and others they haven't come out on DVD yet. So first on my list, or starting with number 10, is Texas Chainsaw. Now, a lot of people crapped on this film, and I really don't understand why. I actually really like this film, and again, with repeat viewings, I've liked it even more. I was never a huge fan of a lot of people love the original sequel to Tobe Hooper's film that he did back in 1986. I thought it was an okay film. It's not a film I watch very regularly, and the set there, they also did a Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and Texas Chainsaw The Next Generation, which I will never own because I just completely hate it. I actually thought this was a really well done sequel to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, and I thought that there's issues that people have with the timeline in this and things like that, but I really just didn't have a problem with it at all, and I really fail to see why some people are being so critical about this film. I thought it was a good Texas Chainsaw Massacre film. I thought the guy that played Leatherface did a great job. I thought the cast was fine, just fine. I mean, no one's winning any Oscars here, but it's a slasher movie. At the end of the day, it's a slasher movie, and I thought it was kind of cool that they added a little bit of human element to Leatherface. So yeah, I had a great time with this. I thought it was directed well. The script was pretty cool, and like I said, I had fun with it. I enjoyed it in the theaters, and I've enjoyed it many more times on DVD. So yeah, number 10 on my list is Texas Chainsaw. Number 9 on my list is another film that people are probably going to be shocked that I loved, but it's Rob Zombie's The Lords of Salem. I wish this would have gotten a bigger theatrical run. I think it's Rob Zombie's best film that he's done, and I've seen and own all his films, and I was a huge fan of Halloween, or his Halloween 2, which a lot of people do not like, but I really enjoyed this film. I thought Sherry Moon Zombie did a great job in the lead role here. Some really creepy things in this film. It's a very slow-moving film, but it's a very disturbing film. There's some elements in it that you really can't unsee. The music in it was terrific, and I think Rob Zombie knocked it out of the park with his direction. Just an amazing, amazing film. So if you haven't checked it out, I recommend it 100%. Lords of Salem. Number 8 on my list was Curse of Chucky, which I was so happy that came out because I was not a fan of the comedy Chucky films with Bride and Seed of Chucky. Bride was okay, but Seed I just did not get into. Even repeat viewings, I just could not get into that film. But yeah, I really enjoyed this film. It was a return to form for the Chucky character in the Child's Play franchise, and I'm looking forward to them making more films in this series. So we got number 8 on my list is Curse of Chucky. Number 7 on my list is the remake of Evil Dead. This movie was a lot of fun, and again, like I've said in the past, I respected the Evil Dead movies, but they were not my favorite films in the horror franchise. I know a lot of people really love the Evil Dead films. I've always respected them 100%, and I enjoyed the first film, but was not a huge fan of Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness. I liked them, but they're just not my favorites. And this movie just kicked ass and was a really gory, fun movie to watch, and I think it was just terrific. It was so much fun to watch in the theater, and I hope that eventually they'll put out the NC-17 cut. That was the original cut of the film. I was surprised they didn't, but this was a great film, and I really loved it. So, number 7 on my list is Evil Dead. Number 6 on my list is Insidious Chapter 2. I really love this film, and I just watched it again just because I've only seen it one time in the theater, but I think it's even better on a repeat viewing. It really ties into the first film excellently. There's some really creepy moments in this film, and I just think James Wan is just a horror director to be reckoned with. He is just a great director, and I love the cast in this, and I think it's one thing I always like is good continuity, and this one ties into the first film so well that you can just watch them back to back and it'd be one story. So I think they did a terrific job on this film. James Wan and Lee Winnell did a great job of writing and directing this, and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, number 6 is Insidious Chapter 7. Insidious Chapter 2. see, okay. So number 5 on my list is a movie that's not coming out on DVD and Blu-ray until the middle of this month, and that is You're Next. Completely underrated horror film. I loved it even more than The Purge. I think the reason why it didn't really get a lot of people going out to see it is because it came out so soon after The Purge came out, and The Purge was a huge hit, and people thought that You're Next just looked like another home invasion movie, but it's so much more. When I did my review and talked about it, I've heard people call it, or one reviewer call it, it's almost like Friday the 13th meets The Big Chill. And I couldn't agree more. It was a terrific film, really well done, had a lot of dark comedy in it, and was really creepy and scary at many times. It had a great balance. So yeah, number 5 on my list is You're Next. Number 4 on my list is probably one of my favorite comedies ever, and one of my favorite comedies of the year. And I'm kind of in the minority on this one, because a lot of people that I've talked to that have seen the movie didn't like it as much as I did. But the movie is This Is the End. I absolutely loved this movie, and I said it right when it came out in theaters and I was able to see it opening weekend. I laughed my ass off in this movie, and so did my wife. This movie has got so much, it's got dark undertones, it's got a lot of raw humor, but it is laugh out loud hysterical, and I think everybody in this cast is just brilliant, especially Danny McBride and Craig Robinson, who steal the movie for me, and I just think this is just one of the funniest movies ever made. So yeah, number 4 on my list is This Is the End. Excellent, excellent film. Number 3 on my list is James Wan's masterpiece, The Conjuring. This movie is scary as shit. I've watched it a couple times since I bought it on Blu-ray and DVD, and it scared me even more than when I saw it in the movie theater. Terrific cast, Patrick Wilson, Vera Farmiga, just an amazing, amazing film. James Wan is just amazing, an amazing horror director, and he just gets better, and I really hope that he does more horror films after he does Fast and the Furious 7. But yeah, this movie is fucking terrific, one of the best horror films ever made, and I absolutely loved it. So number 3 on my list is The Conjuring. Now, number 2 on my list is a movie that I said was going to be my number 1, and that is The Hobbit, The Desolation of Smaug. As I said in my review a few weeks ago, I absolutely fucking love that film. It's my favorite out of all the Lord of the Rings Hobbit films. The reason why I didn't put it as number 1, like I said I was going to, is because there was another film I completely forgot about that has to be my number 1 film for this year. So Desolation of Smaug, awesome, excellent fucking movie, and it is my number 2 for this year. But my number 1 movie for this year has to be Crystal Lake Memories, The Complete History of Friday the 13th. Yes, this isn't a theatrical movie, this isn't, it's a documentary, but it is a fantastic fucking documentary. This thing is 7 hours long, and it's the complete history of my favorite horror film series of all time, and it was done so fucking well by Daniel Farrens. Just an amazing, amazing film. I can't say enough good things about this film. I absolutely loved it, and it's just everything that a Friday the 13th fan would want, and me being a Friday the 13th fan and it being my favorite horror film series, this has to be my number 1. So absolutely 100% number 1 film of this year is Crystal Lake Memories. Absolutely fucking loved it, and I'm so happy that it got made. So that is my list of my favorite films of 2013. I know this is a long video, and I hope everyone has stuck with me through it. If you haven't, no big deal, but I want to thank everyone for watching this video, and please feel free to share your comments below. I always appreciate feedback, and let me know what your favorite films of this year were, and if you disagree with some of my picks, that's fine. It's my opinion, that's all. I'm not saying it should be right for everyone, just me. And again, thank you all for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope everyone has a very safe and happy New Year, and I will see you guys in 2014 for some more exciting videos. Take it easy, my friends. Have a good evening.